Children are the most vulnerable among us. For that reason, it's all of our responsibility to make sure that they're safe and protected. And even more precious than that are kids that come into the world early and need specialized treatment in the NICU.
He can't say that.
Sir, you can't
Is he
say
allowed
that.
to say that?
it louder. Today we have an article from the Washington Post. It reads, Virginia nurse arrested after babies in the NICU suffer unexplained injuries. The nurse who worked for the hospital has been charged with malicious wounding and felony child abuse. I can't understand the mind of somebody that would abuse a premature child. I can't understand the mind of somebody that would abuse a child in general, but then a premature child that comes into the world and already doesn't have all of their faculties or all the strength that a full-term baby would have. But let's get into the article. Let's find out exactly what's going on. The article continues, the Virginia hospital first noticed newborns were suffering mysterious injuries in the summer of 2023. Then, roughly a month ago, 3 babies from the neonatal intensive care unit, NICU, experienced unexplainable fractures. The first injuries were reported in summer of 2023. That means it's been at least 18 months since the first injuries happened. How is this not being caught? How is this slipping through the cracks where this lady can abuse NICU babies for 18 months? How does somebody that even has this sort of vitriol in their heart to abuse babies, how do they make it through a nursing program, shadow and work in a NICU? And she had to have been there long enough where she's being trusted to be left alone. So this is somebody that's dedicated their early career into working with babies in the NICU. Gone through a lot of training, a lot of schooling. And then what you do with that power is when you get alone, you start abusing them and breaking their bones. The hospital grew so concerned that last week it announced it would stop admitting babies into the NICU until they discovered what was breaking their bones. Now, a registered nurse has been arrested and charged with malicious wounding and felony child abuse. The lady's name is Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman, age 26, and she was arrested in connection with an incident that occurred in November 2024. Police said in a news release that they have reopened all of the cases reporting mysteriously injured babies at the hospital from 2023 and 2024. Like we said, this has happened for at least 12 to 18 months. She's been abusing these babies, if it's just her, for at least 12 to 18 months. Somehow she's managed to go into these rooms, injure the baby, go home and sleep, all without being caught over a period of 12 to 18 months. I'm not going to read the entire article, but I want to highlight some key points. One of the people that suffered abuse from her was a baby that spent 3 months in the NICU that was born at 28 weeks. I don't know if you guys know how small a 28-week-old baby is, but they're tiny. They got to be 2 or 3 or 4 pounds at the time that they're 28 weeks. And this lady thought that she was going to get away with it and just ran through a string of abuse for 18 months without being caught. And goes home, she sleeps peacefully, not a care in the world. Just, I'll turn around and do it again. It's reported that she injured at least 7 babies. She injured at least 7 babies without being caught. One of the points that is interesting to me about this article is when my babies were in the NICU, they were heavily monitored. They were monitoring their oxygen levels, their heart rate, like a bunch of different stuff. And they're checked on every 3 hours. Yes, they have a single nurse that may come in there and check on them. But if you monitor the baby and all of a sudden after this lady, after all of her shifts or during all of her shifts, all of these different babies start having elevated heart rates, elevated crying, and then you go and do a scan and you find out that they have fractures, there's got to be some sort of pattern here that has been overlooked and not recognized. Somebody is allowing this behavior to happen. Somebody is allowing this lady to go in there, abuse these children, and just walk out carefree. Now, when I first found this article on Twitter, when I first found this story on Twitter, there was a comment reporting that the babies were all black. I don't know that to be true. There's not any mention of the race in this article from the Washington Post. But if that is true, then this is obviously a hate crime. And she should feel the full brunt of that when she goes to trial or if she takes a plea. She should feel the full brunt of this also being a hate crime on top of her maliciously wounding children. That's if that's true. I don't know. It's not in this article. I wonder if it's going to come up later at some point in the trial, if it is if that turns out to be a fact. It doesn't matter what skin tone that the babies are. The fact that you have the audacity to abuse a child is already insult to injury enough. But there was one child that had suffered 12 fractures. This lady is absolutely going to get everything that she deserves. Whether it be in the justice system or the correctional facility, somebody is going to make sure this lady suffers the abuse that she inflicted on these kids. I'm not usually a huge proponent of people going to jail or whatever and getting beat up, right? It's supposed to be a correctional facility, a detention facility. It's not supposed to be an abuse center or anything like that. But in this case, I'm going to say that whoever does something to her, they get a pass in my book. Let me know what you think about this story. This is Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman, age 26. She's out here in Virginia abusing children in the NICU. If you like the video, like the video. Subscribe to me back here for the next conversation. And if you have thoughts, let the world know. This is the place for discourse. Till next time. Peace.